Welcome to the deep dive. Today we're tackling something I think pretty much everyone runs into,
Yeah.
the messy reality of our own minds.
Yeah. Always fun territory.
We're diving into the Chimp Paradox by Dr. Steve Peters.
Right. A really interesting framework he developed.
It's not just like another self-help guide. It gives this surprisingly simple on the surface
Mm-hmm.
model for understanding why we think and feel the way we do, and crucially, how to maybe manage it better.
And it's been used everywhere, hasn't it? From top athletes.
Exactly, looking for that mental edge,
Yeah.
but also just everyday people trying not to get sort of derailed by their own emotions.
That seems to resonate widely.
Have you ever felt, completely hijacked by a reaction, something you knew was irrational?
Oh, absolutely.
Mm.
Or that little voice of self-doubt that just pops up.
Right. So if that sounds familiar to anyone listening, this deep dive might offer some valuable perspectives.
Definitely. And what's key right off the bat is this idea that,
Okay.
well, we aren't just one single thing. Dr. Peters suggests our mind has three distinct parts working together. Or sometimes maybe not together.
They're an internal team, sort of.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
The human, the chimp, and the computer, each with its own kind of agenda.
Okay, let's unpack that team, the human. That's our rational side. Logic, facts, thinking ahead.
Precisely. Your rational brain,
Yeah.
it weighs evidence, thinks long-term, understands consequences down the line. It's the part making the pro-con list.
The planner. Got it.
Right.
Then, the chimp. The name alone suggests something. Well, wilder.
That's a good way to put it. The chimp is our emotional engine. It runs on feelings, gut reactions, instincts.
Of super quick judgments.
Lightning fast, based on perceived threats or rewards. Now, this can be life-saving in real danger, that fight or flight.
Sure.
But it's also the source of, let's face it, a lot of our everyday overreactions and irrational stuff.
Mm.
And here's the kicker. Dr. Peters estimates the chimp is about 5 times stronger emotionally than the human.
5 times. Wow.
Yeah. Think about when pure emotion just washes over your logic. That's the chimp flexing its muscles.
That really puts things into perspective, like trying to debate a hurricane.
Kind of.
Okay, and the third part, the computer. Sounds like where habits live.
Exactly right. It's the hard drive. Stores all our learned behaviors, our beliefs, our automatic responses, things we do without thinking.
So like driving a car or brushing teeth.
Yep. Those are what he calls autopilot super useful programs. But then there's the other side,
Oh.
the unhelpful programs. He calls them gremlins, those nagging negative thoughts.
Like, I'm going to mess this up.
Exactly. And then there are goblins, which are even deeper, more ingrained negative beliefs, maybe like, I'm just not good enough, full stop. Things usually formed way back.
Okay, so gremlins are like annoying pop-ups. Goblins are like core operating system issues.
That's a great analogy, yeah. They can really shape how the human and chimp react to everything.
So putting it all together, the paradox is that this super strong emotional chimp often just grabs the controls from the rational human, leading to feelings and actions we don't actually want.
That's it in a nutshell. The emotional volume knob is just way louder.
But the core message isn't doom and gloom, is it? It's about management.
Exactly. That's the hopeful part. You can't, get rid of your chimp. You can't directly control
Yeah.
it, but you can learn to manage it. Become a better handler for your own inner primate.
Okay, management. So how do we actually do that? The first step seems to be just recognizing who's talking.
Absolutely fundamental. Learning to tell in the moment, is this my human thinking or is my chimp reacting? It requires pausing.
Taking a mental step back.
Yeah.
And there's a key question the book suggests asking ourselves, right?
Yes, a very direct one. Do I want these feelings? Do I want these thoughts? Do I want to be behaving this way?
Simple, but probably quite powerful.
It is. Because if you pause and honestly answer no, well, that's a pretty strong sign your chimp has taken over.
You're in reaction mode, not response mode.
Precisely.
Okay, so we've identified the chimp is running the show, causing maybe some chaos. What's next? How do we guide it? The first technique is called exercising the chimp.
Right. And this is quite insightful, I think. The idea is that emotions have energy. They need an outlet.
Like pent-up physical energy.
Sort of, yeah. When the chimp is worked up, angry, scared, frustrated, it needs to express that somehow.
And just trying to bottle it up, that doesn't work.
Often makes it worse, actually.
Right.
Suppression can just build the pressure until it explodes later, maybe inappropriately.
So exercising means letting the chimp vent. even if it sounds irrational.
Kind of. It means giving the chimp a safe space to get those raw feelings out without judgment. Acknowledge the anger, the fear. Don't try to immediately rationalize it away. Let it speak its piece, metaphorically. The idea is this helps it burn off that intense energy.
It gets tired.
Yeah, it tires itself out. And then, once the emotional storm has passed a bit, the human has a much better chance of stepping in constructively.
So it's not about acting out, but about acknowledging the feeling internally, maybe.
Or finding a safe external way, journaling, talking to a trusted friend, even just mentally letting it rant for a bit before deciding how to act. It's about separating the feeling from the action.
Okay, that makes sense. Acknowledge. Don't necessarily endorse or act on the impulse. What about boxing the chimp? Sounds more confrontational.
This is where the human really steps up. Boxing means using facts, truth, logic, the human's tools, to challenge and calm the chimp's often over-the-top fears and assumptions.
So presenting the counter-argument.
Exactly. You're bringing a rational perspective to the emotional outburst.
So if the chimp's yelling, everything's ruined because of this one mistake,
The human steps in with, okay, hang on, let's look at the facts. What actually happened? What are the real consequences? Remember last time something similar happened and it wasn't the end of the world?
you're offering a reality check based on evidence.
Precisely. You're using truth to gently, or sometimes firmly, counter the chimp's distortions.
Okay, and then there's feeding the chimp bananas, which sounds nicer.
Yeah, that does. Bananas are basically anything the chimp likes or wants. Rewards distractions.
So you use these strategically.
Yes, in two main ways. First, as distraction bananas. You use something the chimp wants momentarily to divert it from an unhelpful impulse.
Like,
The classic example is wanting to hit snooze. Your chimp wants more sleep now. Your human knows you need to get up. So you might use a distraction like counting down from 5, focusing only on the numbers just long enough to get your feet on the floor. The countdown distracts the chimp for a second.
a little mental trick to bypass the immediate craving.
Exactly. And the other type is reward bananas.
Okay.
This is using something the chimp enjoys as motivation to get it to cooperate with a task the human wants done, but the chimp might resist.
Like bribing it.
Essentially, yes,
Yeah.
but in a constructive way. Okay, chimp, if we get through these emails, then we can have that nice cup of coffee.
So you're incentivizing it to align with the human's goals.
You got it. Making the effort worthwhile from the chimp's perspective.
So we've got managing the chimp, but then there's the computer with those ingrained patterns, those gremlins.
Right. We can't forget the computer. It's running all these background programs. And gremlins are those negative automatic thoughts. I'm bad at this. People won't like me.
And they pop up and influence both the chimp and the human.
Definitely. They can trigger the chimp's fear or anger, and they can undermine the human's confidence in rational thinking, their learned beliefs, often not based on current reality.
So just being aware of them isn't quite enough. We need to actively, debug the computer.
That's the idea. It takes conscious effort. First, you identify the specific gremlin, what's the negative belief.
Okay.
Then you actively challenge it with truth and facts, much like boxing the chimp.
Okay.
And crucially, you rehearse a new, more helpful, truthful belief until that becomes the automatic response.
So replacing the faulty code.
Exactly. It's about consciously overwriting the gremlin with an autopilot based on truth. It takes repetition, practice.
And this ties into the stone of life idea. What's that about?
The stone of life is basically your core values, your fundamental truths about yourself and the world, your life principles, what really matters to you deep down.
Like a personal constitution.
Kind of, yeah.
Yeah.
And the idea is to make these explicit. Write them down, keep them visible, remind yourself of them regularly.
Why is that helpful?
Because when the chimp is going wild, or the gremlins are whispering negativity, your stone of life acts as an anchor. It's a reminder of your core truths, your purpose. It helps settle the mind and provides a stable reference point.
Sort of a North Star when things get internally noisy.
A perfect way to put it.
It's amazing how this seemingly simple framework, human, chimp, computer, can be applied so broadly, like in relationships.
Oh, hugely. Once you realize everyone else also has it, human, chimp, and computer. It changes how you see their behavior. If someone snaps at you, maybe it's not them. Maybe it's their chimp having a bad moment.
So you react less with your own chimp.
Hopefully. It allows for a bit more empathy, a pause before reacting defensively.
Yeah.
You might think, okay, their chimp is likely tired or stressed, rather than they're attacking me.
That could definitely de-escalate things.
Absolutely.
And for stress management, same principle.
Yes. Recognizing when your chimp is kicking off the stress response, the anxiety, The overwhelm is the first step. Then you can use the management techniques.
And maybe build autopilots.
Exactly. Develop pre-planned, helpful responses in your computer for common stressors, like a go-to breathing technique or a specific way to approach a difficult conversation. Managing the chimp and programming the computer.
Reducing immediate stress and maybe the long-term wear and tear, too.
That's the goal.
And then thinking about success, happiness, confidence. The book suggests focusing more on the human's effort, not just the outcome.
Yeah, this is a really important distinction. True, lasting confidence, Peters argues, comes from your human knowing you did your best.
So the preparation, the effort, acting with integrity.
Right. Focusing on the process that you control. If your confidence relies only on external results winning, getting praise, you're always at the mercy of things outside your control, and your chimp's fear of failure will be constantly triggered.
So confidence comes from, I did my best, not just, I won.
That's the shift. It's much more stable, less vulnerable to the chimp's anxieties about loss.
So wrapping this up, the Chimp Paradox offers this, well, really practical toolkit.
Very practical. For self-awareness, first and foremost.
Understanding that internal tug of war.
Yeah, and then giving you ways to actually manage it. Identify the chimp, understand its emotional nature.
And use those techniques, exercising, boxing, bananas, to guide it.
Right, and not forgetting the computer either.
Actively working on those gremlins, replacing them with helpful autopilots.
So your automatic responses align more with your human values, your stone of life, leading, hopefully, to more well-being, more success, however you define that.
It really empowers you to feel less like a passenger to your own emotions and thoughts.
Absolutely. Which leads to maybe a final thought for everyone listening. Yeah. Thinking about this model. Human, chimp, computer. Just take a second. Which part of your mind do you think might be running the show most often right now?
A good reflection point.
And maybe what's just one area in your life where you could see yourself starting to apply even one of these ideas? Exercising the chimp, challenging a gremlin.
Just picking one small thing to try.
Exactly. It's a framework that really invites that kind of ongoing personal exploration.